11 o'clock here on Three Man Front on this Wednesday. Lance and Roberts, Conrad Van Order, Molly Robinson, voice of the Tide, Chris Stewart, along in just a few moments, presented by Craneworks, his weekly stop as he's headed out to Norman, Oklahoma, driving at last check to Norman to call the game between Alabama and Oklahoma. Part 2 for this season, but the first game of the college football playoff that all gets started on Friday night. We had bowl action here in the state last night in Montgomery. Salute to veterans. That bowl game in Jack State, a winner. That was a really entertaining game if you had a chance to watch it. 17-13, Jack State gets the win over Troy, the first time that those programs had matched up since 2001.
Yeah, and Charles Kelly gets 9 wins and a bowl win in his first season there at the head of Jacksonville State. And like you said, it was a great game. You had a Hail Mary at the end that goes off the Troy's players' hands in the end zone, right? It, could have been that miracle ending, but JSU, congrats to them on a fantastic 9-win season.
Also, staff additions reported that Kalen DeBoer, Alabama, going to bring on Derek Nix, one of the offensive coordinators at Auburn this last season, but a very good recruiter. He's going to replace Jamarcus Shepard as a wide receivers coach on that staff for next season. Speaking of Alabama, the voice of the Crimson Tide, Chris Stewart, presented by our friends at Craneworks.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, Rentalworks, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Crimson Tide Network's Chris Stewart on Three Man Front is brought to you by Craneworks. Lift it, buy it, rent it. The big dog's got it. And now, Chris Stewart.
And Chris joins us as all of our guests do on the Higginbotham Hotline. Chris, how are you?
Man, I'm great. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. Are you on your journey yet? Have you started traveling?
Well, yes and no. Probably not in the context you're thinking of, but the journey begins after dropping my son off here in about 2 minutes at Bentbrook for him to enjoy a post-test day at the golf course.
Okay.
I will be making my way to Tuscaloosa, doing Alabama-South Florida men's basketball tonight. Going to actually go see football practice first. Game tonight. Drive part of the way going to Tupelo. Spend the night. Do the rest of the drive tomorrow to OKC. Little dinner in Great Town tomorrow night. Little college football playoff game on Friday. Spend the night. Saturday, drive to Huntsville. Sunday, 1 o'clock, Alabama, Kennesaw State basketball.
Wow.
And then back home Sunday night.
I'm curious, what do you listen to when you're on these long road trips, heading out to a game? Is it like Chris Stewart's Greatest Calls?
That doesn't take very long. That'll get me to the store. Voices in my head take up a lot of time.
Wait.
No, I will go a lot of radio. You guys, when it coincides with the trip, provide a good bit of listening enjoyment on the way, especially when you're doing, pilgrim-related things in the parking lot.
You're welcome.
But yeah, I will occasionally do podcast stuff. I don't have a set routine of them, but man, virtually everything's through the phone now, whether it's the app and listening to you guys or whatever else I'm tuned into. It's kind of funny. We at Learfield, who is the parent company for Crimson Tide Sports Network, Learfield's got an app called Varsity where we do basically it's the hub for all of their game broadcast. And so when I'm coming back on a game day, like if we've got an early game or if I'm going to the stadium, it's nice to be able to hear the others, and they even do a whip around show, which is nice to be able to check out as well. And you hear, a lot of friends that you have in the business calling games and stuff. So it depends on the day, but it's you're trying whatever to fill time. And of course, heck, now, as you well know, you can, on long journeys, you can pull up your own cable broadcast, or what used to call cable, but now is YouTube TV. I can pop that on and feel like I'm sitting in my den.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable how far we've come in that regard, Chris. But Let's talk a little bit about the game coming up on Friday. We know it's a rematch. Third time these teams will have faced off in the last 13-ish months or so. But first, I guess kind of the anticipated part of this week was the injury report for Alabama. We know they've been really banged up, Chris, but it looks like some of these guys, Jam Miller, Cam Dewberry, they seem like they're good to go. Hopefully Parker Brailsford is coming along, even though he's still been playing. We know he's been banged up. And Josh Cuevas, according to Ryan Grubb, seems like he's trending in the right direction as well. So what can you just kind of tell us about the health of this team, maybe from what you've seen and talked to these people about since the SEC championship game?
Yeah, well, I wish that we were actually doing this interview in a couple hours, because after I drop my son off, then I'm going to go to practice and I'll see him with my own eyes for the first time. But like you, just hearing the news from coaches yesterday, and especially on the offensive side, if you were able to get Josh Cuevas back in any capacity, that would be absolutely huge. I think he's one of the best in the country, and if not one of the best in the country, then certainly perfectly suited for what they do on offense and what they want to get accomplished. And even though some young guys got some playing time and didn't do poorly, he's a veteran. He's one of the best there is, and you're a better team with him available. So hopefully he will be among the guys that can go. And certainly Bama's two worst performances, I think we could easily say this year, were without Jam Miller being available. We didn't have him for the Florida State game, didn't have him for the matchup in the SEC championship. And now he was there. We lost Oklahoma, but still, we're obviously a better team when he is able to go. And I think even though it's not a 1,000-yard rusher, he's a more experienced pass blocker. Some other things, there is more of a threat there with him than without. I will say that while it has not made us better in the actual games themselves prior to this, the fact that we've had guys beat up and banged up and several have had to miss, you basically forced yourself to get young guys and other guys experience and step to the forefront a little bit, which I do think is going to make you better as we hopefully, move on in the playoffs. You find a way to get this one. That's obviously most important, but then every step after that is just more opportunities for guys, and where you're probably going to need more and more depth available in these guys that were freshmen at the start of the year, or even a month ago, probably more experienced and not as green as they were. So hopefully what was a negative in the moment turns into a positive as we move on, because they'll be more prepared to help and see this team advance all the way to a title.
Chris, as you look back to that first matchup at Bryant-Denny Stadium, what was it about Oklahoma, based on your expectations heading in, that really surprised you coming away from that game?
I do think Alabama, was its own worst enemy in some regards, but you'd be incredibly unfair to not give them credit as well, because what they did on defense, they made the most of the short field they got. They turned an interception into a pick six, and took what Alabama gave. And that's what you have to do in a game of this magnitude, and the one that took place, 6 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, whatever it was. Alabama did enough good things to win, but they gave it away 3 times, and you can't beat many teams at all, let alone one the quality of Oklahoma, if you're going to be that generous with the football. So Oklahoma's ability to get takeaways was certainly the biggest thing. If Alabama can play defensively the way they did before, they should be fine, because I don't anticipate the offense doing again what they did in that particular game.
Chris Stewart, the voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide, joining us here on the Higginbotham Hotline, as he does each and every Wednesday on Three Man Front. So, Chris, I wanted to ask you something about Kalen DeBoer, and he's obviously been in the headlines a lot, a very popular name for various reasons with coaching searches here in the last couple of weeks. I'm not going to ask you anything about his future, to speculate on him, anything like that. I think his statement that he released earlier this week was pretty definitive and kind of said everything that he wanted to say. But I wanted to ask you how you think that he's handled all of this noise, because it comes off to me from the outside looking in again. There are just other coaches and other situations that we've seen in recent memory where it seems very chaotic. And it seems like for Alabama, even amidst all of this noise, they've handled it very well and not let it affect them. So I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on how Kalen DeBoer and that staff and everybody have handled all the noise around the program getting ready for a playoff game. They seem to have done a very good job of focusing on the game on Friday and not on all the outside factors.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons why is because you can trust him. Um, he is as good and decent and honest a person that I've been around, especially um, in a circumstance, in a situation like his, in a position like his. And when he looks you in the eye and tells you something, you take him at his word. Now, look, things in life change. We know that, and they can change very quick. I guarantee you, when he walked out of um, that national championship game with Michigan, or excuse me, against Michigan when he was at uh, Washington, he had absolutely no designs on being the next head football coach at the University of Alabama. And less than a week later, he was being introduced in that regard. So I know things can change, but I do take him at his word that they are. And I've never seen anything. I'm around it a good bit. I'm not around all the time, certainly not 24/7 and all of those things, but I'm around a pretty good bit. He and his staff seem to be genuinely happy and honored to be at the University of Alabama. They feel a real obligation to keep this program or put this team in the national championship year after year. That's why he left where he did. He had Washington in the national championship, but Alabama's a place where you feel like you can do it year after year. Not every season are you going to be in the championship game, but you're going to have a great opportunity to put yourself in position anyway. And that's what he wanted. He wasn't afraid of it then. He's not afraid of it now. Um, but I honestly believe that this is a place where he wants to get things done. The staff does as well. And I don't think 2 years in Tuscaloosa has changed his mind. It's not like he was surprised that football mattered at the level it does. He's not surprised that there's the passion for it that there is. He's not surprised that the resources are there. And take that piece out of the equation. I don't know why in the world anybody would think that you would leave Alabama or anywhere comparable right now to go into the cesspool that is in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And that's not what that program is overall. It's not what it is historically. I'm not saying that. I'm just talking about in its current state. You know what's happened with the football head coaching position. You have an AD who's probably out the door soon, and you've got a president who's got an interim tag. Why would you leave and go for that? And a place that, when you're talking about all-time great programs and the top places to be, depends on where you're from and who you pull for. Do you bleed blue or crimson as to which one you think is better? But you've got a president who is in place, who's fantastic. You've got an AD who's easily one of the best in the nation. You got a fan base that loves the program, is passionate, is behind it. You've got things in place from an NIL standpoint. And even though geographically there's a difference, I think there's a real fit between what Kalen DeBoer is used to and is comfortable with and what Alabama is, and specifically Tuscaloosa. I think it's a good fit. I hope it's a place he'll be for a long, long time with a lot of championships won during that time.
I'm with you, Chris. Everything you said about Michigan, I've been shouting it, and if it did happen, I would love to hear the explanation of why. There's no way I can
Yeah.
rationalize it right now, given the state of that program and the unknowns. Not just the knowns, what we know, but the unknowns within not only that football
Yeah.
building, but also the athletic department. Just can't see it.
Well, there are guys. There are guys that are fixers. Okay,
Mhm.
there are guys that come in and like the idea of doing the home makeover, if you will. That's not what Kalen DeBoer took over at Alabama. Um, he walked into a very good situation. He knows that, but he also left a very good situation. So, but it was a better spot. Uh, so he's in a. I think he's where he wants to be, and I don't think Michigan falls into the category of being. I don't think he falls into the category of being a guy who's always looking to go. I know he's made a couple of changes in a three changes now professionally, but each one was a step up. Michigan's not a step up from Alabama at any point, but especially right now. So you know, I just don't see how that would make any sense.
All right, Chris, let's get your final thoughts before we let you get out of here on the game coming up on Friday. Again, we know we saw it earlier in the year. Oklahoma got a close victory, but you already talked about Alabama kind of didn't do themselves any favors in that matchup. Do you see this one playing out differently on Friday? How do you think Alabama is going to look? Are they going to be refreshed, rejuvenated after what we saw in Atlanta 2 weeks ago?
Look, I think they're in a really good spot now. Oklahoma's rested and healed up too. I mean, they didn't play in the championship game. Um, they've had a chance to get some guys healthy as well. Uh, they're they're really good. They're really well coached. They'll be at home, and understandably, they'll be very confident. But I just feel like Alabama's opportunity is a great one. I think they'll play better than they've played uh, since the Oklahoma game in terms of their execution. They put up great yardage the first time against Oklahoma. I think our defense will be just as good. Uh, and as long as we don't give them short field situations, I think we'll get the result that we want. But anything average or below is going to result in this season being a step forward because you did get in the playoff, but it won't see us advance to the next round. And look, I'll be honest, from a vacation standpoint or just choosing my travel, I have no real desire to go to California. But professionally, I would absolutely love to go to Pasadena
Yeah.
and see this team
There you
compete
go.
in the Rose Bowl.
It's a
There you go.
beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Couldn't have put it better myself.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you. Chris Stewart, as always, is presented by a mainstay not only here in the state of Alabama, but also the Southeast. That's our friends at Craneworks.
Yeah, they are. And they are our friends. And I had a really cool opportunity last week to actually sit down with David Upton. If you're following Craneworks on social media, specifically Instagram, we did a sit down conversation about a lot of different topics. We talked some sports, but we also talked a little history and background for not only Craneworks, but for David himself and how Craneworks became the most trusted name for crane and equipment rental in the Southeast, and they have done so for over 30 years. It was, I went in basically just having a conversation, not knowing exactly, a lot of times you do interviews, guys, and you know the answers. I didn't when I was talking to David about his involvement with Craneworks and the history of it. And it was really cool. I think people will enjoy it. People that have heard the name Craneworks for years, they'll enjoy it on their social media platform. And you can also learn more about them and all the services they provide if you go online to craneworks.com.
He's Chris Stewart, voice of the Crimson Tide, presented by Craneworks. On the call tonight, Alabama and South Florida in basketball, 7 o'clock at Coleman Coliseum. Then he departs, makes his way to Norman, Oklahoma. We get the college football playoff opening game on Friday night on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. I will leave you this trivia question. What current SEC head football coach was born in Norman, Oklahoma?
Oh, my gosh. That's a great Eli Drinkwitz.
There it is. My man.
Looky
I
there,
just
Chris.
guessed. I don't know why.
No.
Totally pulled that one. I would say the hat, and I'll do so for family listening purposes. But yeah,
Yeah.
pulled it right out of the hat.
That was a great guess.
That was a no look, and I knew that Chris was above the rim, and he was there for the alley-oop.
It's the only time anybody's ever said that about me. I guarantee you, unless that rim has come unbolted and wound up on the floor.
Don't forget about those kids that day, Upward Basketball, where you dominated. Just
not even that.
Chris, safe travels. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you and your family. We appreciate you.
Same to you guys. I do appreciate it. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
Sounds good.
Thanks,
Chris
Chris.
Stewart, presented by our friends at Craneworks on the Higginbotham Hotline. Plenty more to go. A lot to take away from what Chris just told us. We'll discuss it next on Three Man Front. Come on. Backup singers.
You nailed it.
Thank you. Three-man front, we continue. The holiday edition, Landrum, Conrad, Molly spinning hits behind the glass. Oh, Chris Stewart, courtesy of Craneworks, breaking down the Crimson Tide in Oklahoma. It feels like we've been talking about this game for a month.
Well, it's because a month ago we were talking about this exact same matchup.
We were actually talking about the same matchup.
It's kind of funny how that works. I did want to pass this along because you had a great trivia question for Chris, which was who is the current SEC head coach that was actually born in Norman, Oklahoma? It was Eli Drinkwitz. So here's my trivia question that's maybe a little more difficult, but I thought it was interesting. There's only one time in the history of Alabama football that they have lost to the same team twice in the same year, which if they lost to Oklahoma, this would be the second time it's ever happened. Any guesses as to when the last time it happened was?
No, I want to guess the team. You give me the year.
1893.
Dang.
1893?
It is not a existing.
No.
They do not compete at the collegiate level.
I thought you were trying to do something and connect. I was going to say Michigan because they've been playing since
Is it like
the
Swanee?
1700s, according to them.
No, that would be a good guess. That's also a good guess.
No. I've got it.
It's not a school.
Oh.
It's not? Was it a technical? Trade school? What was it?
The Birmingham Athletic Club.
See, I was thinking like
I-
old SEC.
Yeah,
That's why I
this
said
is-
Those
Swanee.
boys used to tote the pigskin.
Well,
Back in the day.
for
Some real blue chippers.
again, based on this stat, so this happened in 1893. That was the second year that Alabama football existed
There you
because
go.
the program started in 1892. So
My
it
question
hasn't
is,
happened.
who
in
did the Birmingham
132
Athletic
years.
Club have suiting up for them?
They were stacked.
They were good.
Stacked.
Bunch of guys that worked in the steel mill.
Yeah, that's what I'm. I mean, that's why we're like, is it a technical school? I'm like, I mean,
You get done with your
no,
shift and you just
but-
go and
Yeah,
annihilate a bunch of 18 to 22-year-old young men.
I guess it was like how baseball used to be back in the day,
Interesting.
right?
So that's the only time it's ever happened.
That is according to, and I have to give credit to Blake Byler from Bama Online because he posted this online last night. But yeah, the only time that Alabama's lost to the same team twice, the same team twice in the same season was 132 years ago.
Think about if Brent Venables does it, though. That will make him 5-0 versus the state of Alabama in the last two seasons.
Yeah, and I mean,
And
at that point, you got to start calling him daddy.
If Kalen DeBoer leaves, is that no.
Is that your candidate for Alabama? But
Couldn't beat you, so we hired you.
he has a great track record, but it's one of those things where it feels like at some point you have to break through and get that win like Kirby did against Kalen DeBoer 2 weeks ago. Maybe that's Kalen DeBoer against Venables on Friday. We'll see.
In case you missed the announcement, it has been announced because it was happening while Chris Stewart was talking to us. AJ McCarron has apparently bowed out of the lieutenant governor's race, and the speculation is that there could be an announcement tomorrow regarding a particular franchise here where he will be heading.
Yes, there's a popular belief that he will be coaching football in the state of Alabama at the semi-professional level.
So keep your eyes peeled.
Would be the best
But
way I could
lieutenant
describe it.
governor's race just lost a candidate.
Correct. Yeah, we'll see. From a, it'd be interesting if this does come to fruition. You know, what kind of interest that draws from the fan base, because obviously a lot of Alabama fans that would feel that connection there. But yeah, certainly interesting coming off of the heels yesterday that we found out that Skip Holtz was stepping away from the team after winning 3 championships in 4 years. Certainly, whether it's AJ or whoever else, some very big shoes to fill in Birmingham with the Stallions, and a team that and a lot of people around here really, really have grown to love and become quite fond of.
Speaking of Birmingham, we've got the Finnick this afternoon, opening up at 4 just in time for our first bowl game of the afternoon, the Cure Bowl, where Old Dominion takes on South Florida. You can enjoy the Finnick, all the video screens, the projector screens, the wall-to-wall televisions, the state-of-the-art sound, the award-winning menu from the shareables, the wood-fire grilled burgers to the fantastic wings, fork and knife stuff as well. They cut their own steaks, fresh Gulf seafood, a great drink menu. Ask about the drink specials you get in there Friday, and you belly up or settle in with your friends. to watch Alabama and Oklahoma. They're going to have the sound turned up. It's a great way to enjoy a football game. College football, the NFL, college basketball tonight. You can do it there at the Phoenix, 1630 2nd Avenue South near Railroad Park.
Well, 205-834-9450. That's the number for the Courtesy GMC text line. A lot of you chiming in with your thoughts. We'll also give you our daily Twitter poll question of the day. All of that and more, your interaction next as we roll along on this Wednesday here on Three Man Front.
$11:34 here on Three Man Front. We got college basketball out of the conference tonight. Alabama hosting South Florida, 7 o'clock. You get that one at Coleman Coliseum. Chris Stewart, we just talked to him, courtesy of Craneworks. He's going to be on the call. But if you want to view it, you can watch it on the SEC Network Plus. Also, other teams in action. Florida, a little bit not quite running it back like they thought they would at this point.
Been a rough start.
Yep.
Some tough losses, yep.
Yeah, they played a tough schedule. They take on St. Francis tonight. They host St. Francis, 23rd ranked Florida, 5:30 on the network. Do you want to take a stab at what this line is?
For Florida, is it, well, yeah, I'm going to assume it's in Gainesville. I'm going to say Florida 24.5.
Brace yourselves.
Florida big. Is it like 40?
45.5.
Whew. That's a lot.
That's a lot of points.
That's a lot of points to win by. But St. Francis, I think they have 2 wins this year, I saw.
It almost made me pull a muscle in my neck.
Like-
Just, what? Is that right? 45.5. 13th ranked Vanderbilt. They're at Memphis. Vandy, a 9.5-point favorite there. Memphis, little rocky start for those guys as well. And then you have Ole Miss, and they host Alabama A&M, 7 o'clock. So some conference basketball tonight. We had some last night. Tennessee with a nice win over Louisville.
Absolutely. And, yeah, very cool for Alabama and USF because their South Florida's head coach is, if you remember, Brian Hodgson, who was an assistant under Nate Oates. So very cool that he kind of gets to because we saw that. Who did they play earlier this year? I can't remember. But there's a couple teams on the schedule that are former Nate Oates assistants, and this is one of them coming up tonight. So that's very cool to see. But we're going to get to your text on the courtesy GMC text line 205-834-9450. But first, let me tell you about our friends at Train because you don't want to get caught in the cold. So schedule a system checkup right now from a Train comfort specialist. Train has been recognized for 11 consecutive years as America's most trusted HVAC brand, and they are our exclusive home comfort partners right here at Jock. So go visit them online at train.com to find a comfort specialist near you today. To the text line we go. And a lot of you chiming in on a number of topics from Christmas movies, transfer portal, all of that good stuff. So this one comes in. We appreciate this from Tim O. This is a screenshot. He sent in some pictures about this is from their Wikipedia page. Okay, he was sending us some information on the Birmingham Athletic Club, which if you're just now joining us, that is the last team to beat Alabama football twice in the same year. And it was back in 1893. So
Wow.
I will read that in a break, but appreciate you sending that over, Tim, so we can have some more information there. Chris chimes in.
They have a sauna at the athletic club back then?
That's a good question. Chris chimes in. He says, maybe Skip Holtz could be the next head coach at Michigan. I think wherever Skip Holtz ends up, we'll be very lucky to have him. He is a great guy and a great head coach.
Yep.
No doubt about it. A fantastic football mind and an even better person. Let's see. Someone said, no one ever seems to be mentioning Ryan Grubb as a candidate for Michigan or any other jobs. Wouldn't be surprised if he leaves after Alabama's playoff run. Yeah, I mean, that, and the long belief was if Jed Fish left Washington, that Ryan Grubb would probably be at the top of their list at Washington to go back and be the head coach. But yeah, that's really all I've heard in terms of, we had Arkansas and Kane Womack maybe flirting earlier, but I haven't really heard anything else about Ryan Grubb.
Well, his name, he wanted the job, right?
At Washington?
Yeah.
When DeBoer, yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then he obviously went to the
Because some
NFL.
guys, you wonder, do they actually want the headache of being a head coach? But then I remember that Grubb was up for that job.
Well, and the question, and who knows, maybe after what happened in Seattle, people wouldn't be interested. But, you wonder, too, what if the NFL comes back and there's another job for him to be an offensive coordinator in the NFL?
Top coordinators are making $4 million a year in college, and you don't have to deal with all that extra.
It's pretty good living.
Not bad.
So, yeah, we'll see. I know a lot of people have maybe shared that they're not super happy with Ryan Grubb. I think he's done a very good job. There's certain things that aren't his fault in terms of injuries and drops and missed throws, and that's not on him. I think he's done a very solid job this year, but we'll see what his future holds. This one comes in. We were talking earlier about the Alabama quarterback room briefly, and we were talking about Austin Mack and the belief that he would probably transfer out. But someone texted in and said, what about Austin Mack to follow Jamarcus Shepard to Oregon State? I think that's a great suggestion.
That sounds like a winner.
That sounds like a likely scenario.
I mean, Austin would have to agree to it, but it seems like
Obviously.
a likely relationship.
Yeah, he's a West Coast guy. We know that. Obviously, he came from Washington with them. So we will just have to wait and see on that. This one says from Beham Bam, if Austin Mack does transfer, I just hope it's not to an SEC team. He's going to be really good, and I don't want to have to pull against him if he stays in the SEC. And I think that's what a lot of people say is you don't want to see these guys transfer in conference and then turn out to be really good. And you're like, oh, crap, that's the guy we let go, and now we have to face him every year. I totally understand that. Let's see. Tay from Birmingham says, I was told by a Michigan fan that Bryce Underwood's deal was for 3 to 4 years and $12 million. Yes, my understanding is it was a 4-year, $12 million deal. at Michigan. But I don't know. I mean, it's not like, I assume it's not like a professional sports contract where I would imagine you could get out of that. Now, maybe you'd have to pay a little money back or something, but I don't think it's a binding.
I have no idea how they're structured.
I don't
A
either.
lot of them are structured where it's a year to year.
Well, and let's be honest. If he sued the NCAA, he would get whatever he wanted and be able to leave probably. So it doesn't really matter there. This text comes in. I appreciate that we've made it until 11:40 without this being brought up today. But Alan chimes in. He says, interesting times to be Tua Tagovailoa. If you missed the news, yes, it was announced this morning that he was benched, and Quinn Ewers is now going to be the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins the remainder of the season.
It's got to hurt.
I'll always have those Alabama memories, though. Not the career that we thought that he would have. So.
Not only did she dump your guy, look who she replaced him.
I
with.
know. A 7th-round pick.
Mullet.
But we'll see. Best of luck to the Dolphins moving forward. But yes, Tua, he got benched this morning, and I'm still coming to terms with all of that. Someone chimes in here with a Christmas-related question, and I think this could be a good play off of our poll question of the day, asking your favorite Christmas movie. Jason chimes in, is Cousin Eddie the best character in a Christmas movie? I think there's a very strong argument. He's the funniest.
If he's not, he's right. He's in a group.
I think he is.
I think he is absolutely right up there
Okay,
with...
all right.
His one-liners are classic.
Well, let's go through it, though. All right, so Cousin Eddie from that movie.
Yes.
Elf, who would it be?
I mean, it'd have to be Will Ferrell.
It'd have to be
It'd have to be
Buddy.
Will Ferrell.
Yeah, it'd be Will Ferrell. Buddy.
Okay.
With a special shout out to Peter Dinklage in that movie. He's very funny as the small person author. Very funny.
What about Christmas Story?
Ralphie, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Or would you go somewhere else? Would you? I think the dad would
I
be
would- I would put the dad in
dad
there
would be a
too.
strong argument for
No,
that.
I go old Yellow Eyes.
You'd go all Yellow Eyes? Okay.
Scott Fargus.
Yeah, okay. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. Okay, Home Alone would be Macaulay Culkin, right?
Kevin.
You would think it would be Macaulay Culkin, but it could be Pesci or Daniel Stern.
I was about to say, I'd go Joe Pesci over the other burglar.
Yeah. Marv and one of them's Marv.
Yeah, one is Marv.
I don't know why I'm blanking.
What's the other one's name?
I don't know.
The Sticky Bandits.
Or the Wet Bandits.
Or the Wet Bandits.
Depends on which version.
I was about to say, those would be very good ones. I'm trying to think of other ones off the top of my head, just from other, like iconic Christmas movies. 'Cause
In
a lot-
4 Christmases, I'm thinking of Vince Vaughn's brother
Tim
and his
McGraw's
wife.
character.
Yes.
Yeah.
When they're playing the game. Well, maybe not him, but one of the brothers. I
When they're
think.
playing the game with his mom and his mom who married his
Yes.
best friend. or
Something. No, it's like the quick card game.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
what's on your bedside table?
Mhm.
What's the capital of China? Like stuff like that.
It's really, yeah.
Then he starts going into, you remember what we used?
Oh, yeah, when they're doing all the off-the-wall clues and they're getting every single one of them right.
Yeah,
and
that's the game.
Yeah, and Reese Witherspoon's just like, we don't really know anything about each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are all great.
The thing I'm not allowed to wear to Supercross.
I also love that. Yes.
A mini skirt. Yes.
Yes.
I also love the pastor in that movie when they have to go and do
That's
the play.
such a
and-
Dwight
funny
Yoakam.
scene.
So good.
He comes out to jock jams.
Yeah, it's so good. So good. Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. See, this one, okay, we have, this one says Eddie Murphy in Trading Places.
Okay.
That would be theirs. Someone texts in and says John Farva. I don't know what that's from.
John Farva, well, he played the doctor in Elf, but he also wrote
Oh, John
Direct-
Favreau.
Favreau.
That's okay. I got
I
you.
knew they were talking about.
Yeah. He's the
Brett
director
Favre?
of Elf.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, John Favreau. Yes. No, he's great. So yeah, send in some of those too. We'll continue with that. Your favorite Christmas movie
Because
characters.
there's a ton that we're not thinking about.
There is. See, this is for a movie, but and I know this is the eternal debate, but they say their favorite Christmas movie is Die Hard, which I would say is not a Christmas movie. It's just a movie that takes place at Christmas.
McClane.
But yeah, that one would obviously.
Yippee-ki-yay.
I was about to say John McClane and Hans Gruber would both be great.
Hans.
Great Christmas movie characters.
What about the
if you
guy?
count it.
What about the guy that comes and tries to smooth talk? That's doing all the cocaine, and then he
Oh, yeah.
props his feet. Was that Mitchell?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. There's
Come
a lot
on,
of great
John.
options. There's a lot of great options. See, someone says Tim Allen from the Santa Claus movies. Okay. I think these are good. Lewis from Homewood, he chimes in. He says, the crime partner in Bad Santa is the funniest character. Okay, that's a very good one. That is Bad Santa is an underrated. I get it's not like a family Christmas movie, but
No,
it's
it's
also
not.
very good.
Don't gather the family around if you've never seen it.
No.
You don't know the plot.
It is very different, but it's fun. Have you seen that one, Molly?
I don't think so. I was trying to think.
It's Billy Bob Thornton. It's funny, but it's
Okay.
A little raunchier than a lot raunchier actually than the other ones on the list. But a lot of great suggestions that y'all are sending in. So 205-834-9450 if you want to continue to chime in on the Courtesy GMC text line.
Also, in the next hour, our national college football reporter, when he comes on the show, usually big news breaks. Trey Wallace going to join us at 12:30. We continue 3-Man Front on a Wednesday. Eleven 53-man front on this Wednesday. Landrum, Conrad, and Molly. Your text always welcome, 205-834-9450. We've got two bowl games coming up tonight. Get started at 4 o'clock this afternoon down in Orlando. Old Dominion taking on South Florida. Ryan Hartline, the new coach there. Byron Brown not playing. He's going to coach.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to see his coaching debut for the South Florida Bulls. And then a little bit later on, we have another game.
Delaware and Louisiana. That will be your night bowl
Blue
game
Hens
tonight.
and the Raging Cajuns.
Yes, and I believe that's a 7 o'clock kickoff there for that bowl game. And then tonight you also have a pretty solid slate of SEC hoops, but I think a lot of people here interested Alabama and South Florida. That game will tip off at 7 on the SEC Network Plus. So you've got some options tonight. If you're not watching Christmas movies, you got some good sports.
That's right. Also, news coming out yesterday afternoon, Alabama hiring Derek Nix, Auburn's former offensive coordinator, or one of their offensive coordinators, as a wide receiver coach to replace Jamarcus Shepard, who's now the new head coach at Oregon State instead of Ohio State.
Yeah, I thought it was funny because when you heard from Kalen DeBoer earlier in the week, I know he made the comment of, I'm sorry if I'm a little short of breath in here. I've been working with the receivers. I like to think he went out there and went, man, I can't be running around with these kids anymore. I got to go hire a wide receivers coach right now. And I think Derek Nix is certainly a good hire. That's
definitely a good hire and a guy that's very familiar with the recruiting trails here in the Southeast. Ole Miss, meanwhile, they're hiring Frank Wilson from LSU.
Hilarious. Yep.
Pete Golding, a UTSA connection from his past to Frank Wilson, but that's a good get as Ole Miss continues to add to their staff. Auburn quarterback Jay Crawford entering the portal. A very talented guy that kind of broke onto the scene a couple of seasons ago, started every game this season, but he is expected to be in the portal, and we'll see if maybe that's a negotiated deal. You had a couple of those guys that decided to come back last year, but who knows if we see Jay Crawford again.
Yeah, whether that's in orange and blue or wearing a different uniform next year, but certainly I would think going to be one of the more higher in demand cornerbacks, defensive backs in the transfer portal. But this is the world that we live in here now. I do want to go back to the Frank Wilson thing for a second. Is that not the perfect example of, I just go back to advice that you get when you're growing up from your parents and teachers and people like that, and people that tell you never to burn bridges, right? Because you never know when you may need somebody for a reference for a job, right? Or you never know when somebody that you hire could potentially be in a position to hire you one day. And so I think this is a perfect example of that lesson being taught of Frank Wilson, who hired Pete Golding, gave him a job at UTSA. Now Pete Golding returning the favor and bringing him on staff at Ole Miss. Just a good reminder not to burn those bridges, and relationships are important.
I had a great quote from a very wise, godly man and told me one time, you land the way you leave. And I've always remembered that.
Very wise words.
As bad as it was, just leave gracefully.
I was about to say, regardless of a situation, there's still a right
Sometimes
way
it's hard not to show your rear end, but
typically that
I think
comes
there's
back
something
in a
to
good
that.
way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And people respect you more.
You land the way that you leave.
Very wise words there.
Yeah, for sure. Also, a little bit of news that we'll get into, creative ways that folks are bringing in new revenue streams. And
yes,
I think Auburn has certainly done that. We'll get into something that they have launched that I think is quite interesting, and it could get even more interesting as the days, the months, the years go along, and these schools continue to look for revenues. Okay, well, we've got the title sponsor there on the field. We've got all our signs up. All right, we don't have anything else available. What else can we put out there to try to add? Auburn has come up with something. We'll see how it goes.
I was about to say they very well may end up being trailblazers in the NIL space with some of their creativity, and we've got some other ideas that we'll share with you as well coming up in the 12 o'clock hour, but certainly interesting stuff going on.
Yep, let's go to Poe real quick. Hey, Poe.
Man, my peeps, Molly, Conrad, Landry, and Robert. I don't know if Damian there. How y'all doing?
Damian is not. Well, he might be here. We're doing well. How are you?
Okay. Good. Okay, let me call out a couple things, and then I'm going to do the quotes, and then a couple things. My boys made Mississippi State, made the Deuce Mayo Bowl. Take whatever I can. I'm happy about that. But did y'all call out Trading Places, Die Hard, Friday After Next with Cube and Mike Epps? Friday After Next.
I've seen that one.
Don't forget about Friday After Next. Yes, don't forget about Friday After Next. Trading Places, Die Hard, and my favorite is Home Alone 2. I can watch it all day. But those three, to me, are considered Christmas movies, and I watch all of those. So y'all check out Friday After Next, Trading Places, all them. And a quote from Christmas Vacation, the part when he's doing the rant about nobody's not going anywhere. And he some, and then he was saying since Bing Crosby tap danced with Danny Kaye. And don't forget about the police quote when he said that was low. If I had a rubber pipe, I would beat you silly. Hey, it's your boy Poe. I love y'all. I'm out.